Hello and welcome to X-Men, the animated series re-examined. I'm Dan Bain. I'm here with Harv Harkeen.
What's going on, everyone?
Always. Yo, what's out in podcast land? Who knows?
So much is out in podcast land.
So much. You're listening to our podcast where we rewatch episodes of the X-Men animated series from the 1990s and see if they hold up. Do we love them still? So far, pretty much consistently. We
love them 80%.
80%.
We love 80%.
Yeah, that's an A.
Yeah,
you know,
come on.
You'd
get a job on 80%.
That's a good job, I think.
Damn right. That's a good relationship. I love them 80% of the time.
We're up to episode 10. It's called Come the Apocalypse.
Come the Apocalypse. Damn right.
Come the Apocalypse.
This is part 2 to the last week's episode, The Cure. Basically, it's a combination. Look, you know what happens here. I don't really need to give a detailed description here. Let's give it broad strokes. Angel wants the cure that Apocalypse is, or slash Mystique is offering. It's not a cure. It's enslavement. Angel gets turned into Archangel, an evil version of himself with cybernetic enhancements, as do a few other mutants that want to be cured, but no, they're trapped and turned into Apocalypse's 4 horsemen. Pestilence, famine, war, and death, aka Archangel. Apocalypse reveals himself to the world and starts attacking the Paris peace talks, at which point the X-Men turn up to foil. The episode ends up with a massive battle in Stonehenge, which is great. It's got everything you want from an X-Men episode, and I think it's the juicy payoff from the last one.
This episode is standing on the shoulders of giants, I guess.
It's leapfrogging it, for sure.
It certainly is. You know that saying, it's like, we must be soldiers so our children can be doctors so their children can be artists.
Right.
You know, and this is I think is a really great episode. This one is, I think it's a really strong one.
We can all
really
breathe a sigh of relief, everyone. Dan liked this episode.
Yeah. The fights are good. The drama's there. It moves. It's got a good clip to it, but it doesn't feel rushed. But so much of that is because the heavy lifting of all the setup was done by episode 9.
Oh yeah. Like if these 2 episodes were like a plate of food, like you've eaten all your veggies now, and now you can just tuck into the bits. I don't know about you, but I leave the bits I love the most to the end of the meal.
Yeah.
It drives my wife insane. Like I'll eat bits individually. She'll be like, "You can mix it all together." No, I want the steak in its purest form. Thank you.
That is quite unusual, but nonetheless, you do you. No. Straight away, we're back on Muir Island in Scotland, and we know that because bagpipes.
Yes. Tell us. Yeah, it's so set in Scotland, Dan.
Yeah,
tell us.
We can tell. Well, there's two key giveaways that we're definitely in Scotland from the first moment of this. Number one, they hit us with the skirl of the pipes, ringing out across the Heelands. But then, of course, if there were any question as to where we might possibly be, the second giveaway is, of course, that the weather is miserable. It's very rainy, stormy. The sea is blustering up onto the rocks. It looks horrible.
Yeah, it's a Shakespearean tempest going on here right now.
Yeah, I know where we are. We're back in Scotland.
Yeah, so this is where Moira McTaggart's research facility is, who's been harboring Dr. Adler / Mystique, and she's been tricked. You know, she's been thinking that Dr. Adler is for real and been making a curing machine. Oh, the betrayal she would feel when she finds out.
Yep.
What? You're not Adler. You've been making a machine that actually enslaves mutants. And Apocalypse has been hiding behind the door the whole time. He's been hiding in the basement.
So sometimes he goes in the cupboard.
He can make his molecules into whatever he wants.
Yeah.
I will turn myself into a set of drawers.
Yeah, sometimes he just disguises himself as mid-century furniture.
Yeah, Angel is the first victim of this new machine who turns into Archangel. And you know what? Apocalypse did you a favor, Angel. He's made you this badass, metallic-winged, sentinel of death that fires projectiles, these metal exploding dark projectiles now. And your wings can
like
slice
feathers,
shit.
kind of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Your metallic
It's
wings
like
can slice things now. It's almost like you're a real superhero now.
Apocalypse has this incredible line, which is, "I want to hear the cries of the future being born."
I heard that. It kind of passed me by. But something about it was like, my spidey sense was like, oh, Dan's going to be jizzing all over that line.
It's so dramatic.
I mean, it's his baby of the future, right? It's his first horseman.
Yeah.
He's got to say something good.
Yeah, exactly. And and there's this, wonderful kind of like, the birthing screams, cries of a baby, but also that this process that he puts people through is wildly painful, and they're kind of screaming.
Oh, he's getting off on it. He's getting off on it.
He loves it. He loves it.
Do you think he wrote that down before, or he was just that came to him in the moment? Do you think in his spare time, just kind of like writes down like a whole? He's got his little black book of like, when this happens, I will say this.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to be caught with my pants down and then the birthing of my dawn of a new era. Just going, is it done?
It's like in 8 Mile, where they're always kind of they're writing their little ciphers and whatnot, but instead of rhymes and disses for Apocalypse, it's just like dramatic monologuing turns of phrase.
All I want to see right now is a remake of 8 Mile with Apocalypse in the role of B-Rabbit.
Yeah.
I am the trailer park.
Yes.
Anyway,
Mom spaghetti.
Oh shit! So then we cut back to the pub where Rogue first met Pyro and Avalanche in the last episode. You'll notice they have fixed the dartboards. They're back where Rogue threw Pyro and Avalanche through those last episode. And basically this pub is filled with mutants all kind of debating like they want the cure, they don't want the cure. The X-Men are in a booth and they're talking, Professor X, they're going, well done, my students. We all realize that our powers can be used for good and like we don't want to have the cure. And everyone else in the pub that's going, I want the cure. Do you notice they're ugly as fuck? Really ugly mutants.
Yeah, they're all really bad-looking mutants. There's this one woman who will become Pestilence, I believe.
Yeah.
And she's sitting in a booth by herself.
She's about to become Famine. I know. And she touches the flower.
She touches the flower, yeah, and it just dies. And I'm like, that is such a overpower. Like, what is her power? Like death touch?
Yeah,
like just like
maybe super aging.
It's like, oh, Rogue, you think you have it bad that you kind of you drain the energy. When I touch people, they die.
They die.
They just.
I don't get the memories and powers of the flower, Rogue.
No,
it just dies.
Exactly.
All right.
Otherwise, I'd be much more attractive.
Exactly. It'd smell really fucking good. So, did you notice like the tension in this pub is so high that the first time we see the guy that's going to become War and the lady that's going to become Pestilence, they just have a little disagreement about something, and the lady that's going to become Pestilence just picks up a bar stool and swings it at his head.
Yeah.
Apropos of essentially nothing.
Yeah. The tensions are high.
Yeah.
Tensions are high in this.
By the way, the lady that's going to become Pestilence, she's looking a bit older and maybe a little bit worse for wear. And after the transformation process, she's like this 80s punk rocker, hair flowing, riding a metal stallion. I mean, like, that's what's not to love. Like, I enhance your powers. I pretty much give you immortality. You get to ride a metal stallion around the world and slave it in my name. Sounds pretty good.
Yeah, if you haven't had, if things haven't been going that well for you beforehand, Apocalypse offers a pretty compelling.
Yeah.
The offer is pretty good.
Welcome to Apocalypse Makeover.
Something that kind of, I was like, this is a bit unusual. There was a lot of traveling around the world.
There really is. I mean, that blackbird is really putting in the miles.
So they're in this pub at Muir Island.
They're in the pub and they tell everyone, okay, everyone's got to decide for themselves. They leave, unknowing that they're actually...
they go home.
Yeah, they go home.
Yeah. And then they're home and there's stuff at home, and then they fly back to France where there's going to be some dramatics, which we'll talk about in a bit, I'm sure.
Yes.
But Rogue doesn't get to go. Professor X is like, I got a special assignment for you.
Yeah, you're going to go back to
and
Muir
then
Island.
Rogue flies herself back to Muir Island in Scotland. Is Rogue able to fly faster than this, I assume, supersonic jet, right? So why didn't they give her a lift to Paris and then just have her fly to Scotland? It's so rough. It's like, no, you're gonna fly all the way by yourself.
Yeah, it's punishment for wanting to get a cure. You got to fly yourself all the way to Scotland.
Yeah, you fly yourself. You think about what you did.
Yeah, no hopping on jets this time.
Yeah, exactly. It freaks people out.
You really can't tell if flying tires her out.
No, it seems effortless.
It really does.
Yeah. Whereas if you saw Angel kind of fly that different, you'd be like, oh, he's going to be knackered.
He's going to be his tiny bird bones are going to be so
tiny bird bones. He's going to get there and he's just going to be like, well, I can't fight any. I hope there's no villains.
I just flew here from Apocalypse's base, and boy, are my wings tired.
I know. Yeah.
There's a bit where the horseman, Apocalypse is monologuing about how he's going to take over the world, and brilliant ciphers that I'm sure you'll love. And you see excerpts of pestilence, war, and famine going around, causing havoc on the world. And war takes down a military base, and pestilence manages to, Archangel manages to take down a generator for a dam that's going to provide all this power, and famine attacks two French guys on a horse and cart.
Yeah.
And you can tell they're French because one's got a scarf and a beret.
Look, again, Apocalypse has this. He's like, through fire and water, the world will,
Be cleansed.
Will cleansed, and the dam collapses. And
yeah,
he doesn't add and by scaring these two French guys into being a bit older.
Yeah, it's funny because the military base really compared to that, so the missiles are fired at war. He turns them around, they destroy the jets, and the base is blown up. And I'm sure there's loads of casualties. The two French guys on the cart get hit by famine, and it kind of zooms in on them. They suddenly get a bit worried, and they start just going, "I'm so hungry, I need food. I need food."
Yes,
You gave them the munchies. Oh no, it's famine! Quick, grab a snack.
I need a snack real bad. a real kind of classic moment from Enter Magneto, where the base fires the missiles and the missiles are turned back onto the base, becoming a little bit of a
guys, you've done this one before.
Theme. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. I know it's a different mutant, but
Sir, mutant attacking the base. I know this one. Fire the missiles at the base. He'll turn them around on himself. I've seen the previous episodes.
Yeah.
You want me to fire these at the jets? Do it. So the X-Men fight the Horsemen at because okay, this is another fucking great bit of Apocalypse playing hide and seek. So they're doing a Paris peace talks thing, and then the camera ominously lingers on a gargoyle on top of a building, and there's a voiceover, and then the gargoyle turns into Apocalypse. So he's been hiding as a gargoyle while this is all happening.
Having no real understanding of Apocalypse prior to this, I know the look of this guy. I've seen him before.
Yeah. Purple, metallic.
I didn't really know what his abilities were. So this moment where he was initially a gargoyle and then transformed back into himself. I was like, oh, wow. And then like 2 seconds later, he then changes size as well. And I'm like, oh, it's all happening.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's really on shop display mode.
Yeah. And then, and then he turns his hand into a shield as well. And it's like, what can't he do?
Exactly. The guy's an infomercial. But wait, there's more.
They're at it's the World Peace Conference in Paris, and
which is, by the way, one of the worst places to have a peace talks by today's standards. Paris is on fire right now. There are huge protests going through.
If there's anything we know about the French people, and particularly the people of Paris, it's like...
Do you know what they're protesting right now? The retirement age going from 64 to 62. And they are setting the country on fire.
They will. The French will not stand for any encroachment on workers. Kind of is an absolute hard no.
Are you shitting me? That's the years I need for looking out over my vineyard while I have a crust of bread and a glass of red wine handy.
2 years? You want me to cut 2 years of that? Eat shit. Let's set fire to all these rubbish bins and throw them through shop windows.
Absolutely. So what were you saying?
Oh, yeah, and so this is the World Peace Conference, but clearly the army is on standby because then immediately they can just be like, just like, go, go, go.
Go, go, go.
And
There's
then,
a tank right around the corner.
There's immediately a tank. There's like a combat helicopter. It's all go immediately.
Yeah, these peace talks are like ready to fight. So Apocalypse and his horsemen take down the tank and the helicopter. There is the most naff shot of the helicopter flying into the Eiffel Tower, but the Eiffel Tower looks like it's made out. It looks like it's made out of cardboard. It's the worst drawing of the Eiffel Tower I've ever seen, and my 5-year-old daughter has tried to draw the Eiffel Tower. Yeah, she could have done a better job.
The assumption here, I guess, is that the Eiffel Tower gets destroyed. Is that what you took from this?
I think it's a mercy kill in this context, mate.
Yeah, it's not destroyed. It's like, put it out of its misery.
Like, if I was a French person watching this, I would be fucking livid. Forget your retirement age. This interpretation of the Eiffel Tower is an assault. It's an affront. So Rogue goes away and confronts Mystique, and Mystique spills the beans that she's been... This is where we find out that Mystique's actually been forced to work for Apocalypse. This is the first time we realize that she's not in cahoots with him. She's just been forced to do it.
Yes, but she's also... Her essential nature is still sneaky and naughty.
Yeah.
And this is the moment you were talking about in the last episode where there's grey moments where she's in the shadows as Mystique, and you kind of... and then she steps out and she's the Adler.
Yeah.
And turns away, and half of her face is kind of Phantom of the Opera.
Which she's just doing on purpose, just for style points.
I know.
She's just showing
cool.
off there.
Yeah, it's just being cool, just showing off her moves. Even after this kind of revelation that she's, working under duress, she still finds a gun under the table.
Oh, yeah. She's prepared for stuff.
Yeah, she's just like, blam, blam.
My favorite bit from this, the takeaway from this of the information dump, is when Rogue presses Mystique to tell her where Apocalypse is, and Mystique says, I think I actually laughed out loud. She goes, Apocalypse has a secret base under Stonehenge. Like, why would you have a secret base under one of the most visited tourist attractions in the world?
Yeah, it's pretty awesome though, because this episode had a huge amount of destruction of public landmarks. Yeah, like if we assume that the Eiffel Tower got destroyed, then at the end of this, they destroy Stonehenge as well. Yeah, like this ruin everything.
Bro, I would not put a letterbox near Stonehenge. I've driven past that thing several times. You can see it. There's a road, and you can see it. It's about 100 meters from the road. It's always got traffic there. There's hippies that come out and want to lick it. There's no way you're having a secret base there. If that was accurate, in the middle of that fight at the end at Stonehenge, they would have like had to been dodging stoners who were there trying to like get the solstice.
Yeah.
So the X-Men, they follow the horsemen, and they actually, before they go to Stonehenge, they land in London, or what the Korean animators think London looks like. Because if you thought the Eiffel Tower was atrocious, their depiction of what Trafalgar Square looks like, it's just like if someone had just told them from a faint memory, from a dream they'd had. They were like, there was a red bus and loads of cars. I think they just park all over Trafalgar Square. I think it's a car park.
There's another moment in this where, similarly to in the Juggernaut episode, where Rogue has kind of a backfiring of her
draining powers.
Yeah.
That's right. She jumps on Archangel and tries to, with her touch, take some of his power away, but ends up absorbing some of his evil, his madness, and it drives her nuts. Cue a blood-curdling scream coming from her.
Again, like the actress who plays Rogue really like I've what a powerhouse. Not just the southern accent, but also when it comes to the blood curdling screams.
My God,
just really.
Someone must have told her, like, I think someone's gunning for your job that morning, because she gives it everything. And I challenge you to find any other cartoon with that level, like, of intensity. If I heard that scream right now from my neighbors, I would call 911 right now.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you should, because one of them is absorbing some sort of malignant power from the other one.
What's your emergency? I think my neighbor's absorbing some sort of malignant power from an evil being. Flat A. I knew some weird shit was going on over there.
Could be magical in origin, perhaps.
It's unknown. Apocalypse's powers are just so everywhere, all over the place. There's a moment here, because Rogue arrives at Stonehenge first and confronts Apocalypse on her own. And he throws her up against one of these bricks, and she's on the ground. And there is a meme doing the rounds right now of adults revisiting the X-Men, and they're using this picture here, because Rogue is lying on the ground in a way where she's just got the thickest, and with like THIs with C's, thickest ass. And she's lying down in front of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
And it's just,
and she kind of writhes around.
She writhes around on the ground, and it's like her ass is so fucking prominent, and like the animator is really going to town on that. He's really taken out some frustrations there. And as a kid, obviously it just goes over your head. As an adult, you're like, that's some sexy cartooning right there.
Yeah. I didn't know that it's made it into the meme world, but because he blasts her, and it like disintegrates her jacket.
Oh my God!
But leaves the
the lead animator
the lycra.
It leaves
the
lycra
bodysuit, and so she's all just kind of writhing around and kind of There's a lot of butt to camera.
It really is. It feels like a 14-year-old wrote this segment. It's like, and then Apocalypse hits her, and it blasts her clothes right off.
Yeah.
And they're like, dude, we can't have her naked. She's got to have something.
Calm down.
You got to calm down, mate. She's got to keep something useful. Okay, the jacket comes off, but then she's on the ground, and her ass is towards the camera. I'm like, Jesus, mate. We're on a deadline. We got to get this out. Just try to keep it in your pants.
Like, also, it disintegrates her shoes, and we can see her feet. Her feet are right. No, what are you doing?
Quentin?
No.
Is that you? Yeah. There is, like, I thought this was a lovely payoff. So the X-Men show up at Stonehenge, and there's a big old X-Men versus the Horsemen versus Apocalypse. It's great. And there's, lovely fights, as you said. And there's a moment there before they fight, and they just do that, like, panning shot across the team as they're kind of, like, squaring up, and, like, everyone's kind of getting their powers ready. Like, Cyclops' visor glows, and the claws come out, and Storm's get lightning ready. It's just like, yes! As a kid, that's one of those... Oh, yeah, that's what I live for moments.
Just in my notes, I've just written, this is a great fight.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really good one. And you're right, that moment of where they all go with their various powers.
It's the the bit in the Avengers, the movie where like the camera pans around all of them as they're getting ready and preparing themselves. That's this moment, but 30 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. Anytime Cyclops' visor kind of like lights up, I get a little hard on. Oh yeah,
blink.
Oh yeah, yeah. Cyclops is coming out, boys. Yeah,
here it comes. Yeah, and he does some great blasting in this as well.
Yeah, he sure does.
There's a lot of and this technique that they've used a couple of times, which is Cyclops' entrance into the scene, is the blast.
Yes.
This blast just comes from nowhere, and then we whip pan around.
Yeah, it'll typically be like an enemy standing over another X-Man about to like deliver a killing blow, and then they get blasted away by the optic blast. Yeah. And into Cyclops.
Boom, here I am.
Oh, yeah.
With my 4 central abs.
Oh, yeah. any idiot can get 6.
Yeah.
It takes discipline and leadership to get 4.
I've just been targeting these ones. I deliberately neglect the other ones.
Yeah. I have to do half crunches. You know, it's quite refreshing to see these 2 episodes, or episodes that just don't feature Wolverine so hard. I think by this point maybe they'd kind of like gone, all right, we've got the viewership in now. We can maybe rest your most popular hero.
Yeah,
which I was all for. Yeah. I've never been a huge fan of Wolverine. Anyway. Yeah.
I mean, I like Wolverine, but I'm also happy for him to, like, he does great. He's great for flavor in this episode.
Yeah.
There's he hooks his claw into the side of a horse and gets flown off into the sky and then falls off and that sort of, like just up to kind of fun mischief with claws. But
do you think the horses are normal horses that were turned evil, or do you think they're metal horses that were always robots?
I hadn't considered this, but surely they must have been real horses that got... That's the power that he has, right? That's what that machine does. It turns people into kind of evil metal versions of themselves. They were probably really nice horses.
You think they came to Scotland?
They wanted to lose the ability to run.
I don't want to be a horse anymore.
I don't want to be a horse.
You got a horse cure?
Please take it away. Yeah.
Yes, I can cure you of your hoarseness. It's a little joke in the mythical community, but I mean, I can stop you being a horse. Yes.
Yeah. Of course, Mystique was transformed into a horse doctor, like not a vet, a horse was a doctor, in order to trick the horses.
Yeah. Well, as long as you've not broken your leg, I think we're fine. Let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, okay.
So Apocalypse runs away and he flies it away. He gets in a spaceship, which there was a nice little moment where he disappears underground, and it turns out his secret base is actually a ship that emerges from underneath Stonehenge, eradicating centuries of history.
Yes.
Nice one, Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Prick.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it ascends into the skies. And I thought, do you remember Voltron?
Yes.
I thought the spaceship he's got, it's got a very Voltron-esque aesthetic to it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Almost looks like a space coffin.
Now, is he... there's this bit where Rogue is fighting him and failing.
Yeah.
Failing to fight him, but succeeding in kind of making all of us go, oh, what's this... What's this unusual feeling in my 10-year-old body?
That's right. It's like when I climb. It's like when I slide down the pole.
Exactly, but I'm not sliding down a pole. I was like, oh, it's just a hologram version of him. But is that another thing that he can do?
Oh, he can totally hologram himself. Yeah.
Dematerialize. But so that's actually, it's not like, haha, I sent up a hologram.
No. I mean, like the thing is, he can change his molecules to what he wants, so he can like space them out and become intangible. I guess.
Yeah, he can kind of phase out into kind of being a gas.
These 2 episodes have made me realize how lazily written Apocalypse is. It's just like, he could do anything. Yeah, you can do that too.
It is,
Yeah.
yeah,
Whatever you want, whatever the plot needs, you can do it. Yeah, sure. Whatever the fuck.
yeah. There's a lot of like, oh, this would be cool,
Yeah.
and then perhaps not thinking through the ramifications of what that then.
That's the problem when you have a
What does
character that
that
can
mean?
do everything. Like when you start looking back with the hindsight of like they could do everything in every scenario, you just go, well, why wouldn't they just do this? Why wouldn't they just do that?
Because how established is obviously Apocalypse is. There's that whole. It's quite a famous storyline, right?
Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Yes, that's amazing.
Is that?
It's great. So
Yeah.
in the 90s, when X-Men were at their peak, the writers got together and they came up with this alternate reality version where essentially Charles Xavier gets killed. It gets more complex than that. But Charles Xavier dies early on, and in this timeline, Magneto, seeing Charles die in front of him, embraces all of Charles' ideals, and he leads the X-Men. But the X-Men are made up of some villains and good guys, as we know, and like people go off into different factions. So in this timeline, Wolverine and Jean are together, and Cyclops is actually working for Apocalypse. And in the maelstrom of all this, Apocalypse actually takes over the world, and his base is in the US, and it's about the different X teams coming together to try and stop him by actually going back and rewriting the past through time travel and not having Xavier die at all. It's complex, but like, it's a great excuse for gritty world where Apocalypse rules, and it's a lot harder and brash and brutal, and character redesigns are plenty. And, different team lineups, like what if Sabretooth and Sunfire and Iceman were all on the same team? It's great.
Yeah, cool. And does Apocalypse have all the powers in that?
Yes, but the thing is, you don't really see him use any powers because in that storyline, he's already taken over the world. He already kicks ass. He's already won. So it's not like he has to do anything. He's intimidating as fuck and just gives orders, and everyone just knows, well, don't mess with him because he's sitting on a throne of skulls.
Gotcha. I mean, Throne of Skulls does do a lot of is a real substitute for genuine leadership.
Absolutely. Yeah. Who's in charge? Yeah, the guy on the throne of skulls.
Have you seen the Skull Throne? Yeah.
Yeah. Do you see me sitting in the skull throne? No.
Yeah. No. And do you know who tried to sit in the Skull Throne and isn't? The Skulls.
Yeah. Oh my God, this might be the first episode that doesn't end with a to be continued. I mean, yes, Apocalypse gets away. It's implied that they're going to have to continue the fight, maybe chase him. But I don't think there's an explicit to be continued.
No, it doesn't. And it'll be interesting to see how the next episode kind of picks up.
Yeah. They can go anywhere now.
If it can go anywhere. And what direction kind of will things pivot next? Not too sure.
What was your favorite bit in this episode?
I was just gonna try and swing it back on you, but okay. So this is not my favorite bit but a bit that really jumped at me. Because as I said, I really enjoyed this episode. I think it's really up there with Slave Island and Night of the Sentinels.
Oh yeah, that's high praise.
Yeah. I think a lot of that is based on the fact that the previous episode was a bit of a step backwards to be the swing back of the arm to let this one.
Oh, good metaphor, really, Dan. Jesus, that's good.
Really fly forward.
Yeah.
To be the Colossus arm to throw the Wolverine of this episode. Did I push it too far?
Yeah. You're just hanging in there.
Yeah, just. But I really felt for the actress who plays Storm in this, because twice she doesn't really play a huge part in this episode.
We get our first Storm joke.
Oh yes, that's right. Yes, she has kind of 3 moments in the episode, and that's kind of it. And the first one is Gambit damages the table, the pool table in the rec room, and Storm is like, just because it's called the rec room doesn't mean you have to wreck it.
What's going on?
Gambit's like, what? Storm just jocks now?
Sacre bleu.
But then her only other job is twice in the episode to go, they're getting away. Both at the end of both fights.
I didn't think about that. Yeah.
It falls to Storm to go, they're getting away.
You know, and for a story that was so rogue-centric, Storm's her best friend. She could have been a bit more involved.
So yeah, I guess the kind of that's a lot of kind of the wrap up of kind of the fights and the drama of it, but the emotional core of it is kind of that rogue, the machine that sucks out the powers and replaces it with evil and cybernetics is broken. Rogue has lost that lifeline that Rogue perhaps had to live a normal life has been removed, and she kind of seems to make some sort of peace with that.
Yeah, I mean,
but now she has evil inside her.
I was just thinking that. She's got a little bit of Archangel inside her. A little bit of evil Archangel inside her. Yeah. I wonder if that's going to come back into play later.
I know. I hope so. Yeah, and also Archangel kind of also flies off into the distance. He's getting away as well. But now he's back to being Warren the Third.
Oh, but he's a tortured soul. Like, there's still stuff in there.
But now he's... Yeah.
You know what? He's way more interesting now.
Yes, now he can fire kind of explosive feathers out of his wings, which is probably going to come in way more handy.
Totally. Yeah, and chop things with his wings. He's way better. He should be thanking Apocalypse.
Yeah.
Good all in all. Where do they go from here? Who knows? We're going to find out next time.
And I'm interested and excited to see where that picks up. In order to find out where that picks up, you'll have to join us in our next episode of X-Men, the animated series, Re-Examined. And the easiest way to do that, is to subscribe wherever you found this podcast so you get served the latest episode at the earliest possible convenience. We'd also love it if you rated and reviewed the show, again, wherever you found it, especially if you are on the Apple Podcasts. That would be spectacular. It helps other people find the show, and of course if you have a friend who likes this sort of nonsense, and probably you do because that's what makes them your friend, as you talk about the same thing over and over again in a never-ending loop, tell them about the show as well. That'd be great. You can find Jav and myself in real life as well, where we regularly perform as amusing gentlemen about the town. You can find that in the show notes, clickable links to find out where to do that. But otherwise, we will see you next week for who knows what, as the story pivots and moves in new and fun directions.
Yeah. See you guys next time.
All right. Thanks, Harv. Bye.
So hungry. So hungry. I've been touched by famine. So hungry. So hungry.
Oh no!
Oh no! So hungry.
My wagon!
My horse
wagon.
And cart will not make it to market now.
Quick! Eat the hay. There's lots of hay in the eat. Oh, if only.
Sorry, French people. That's what I know. Sorry. All right, bye.
Are podcasts too interesting, especially if you use them to fall asleep? I'm Dan Bain. And all 4 seasons of my podcast, Sleepy Time Mumbles, are interesting enough to listen to, but not interesting enough to keep you awake. Sleepy Time Mumbles, a podcast you can miss, wherever you get your podcasts.